discourage him. He's young, and he's got this devastating left jab. If he can keep this up, keep his life going with the left jab, he's going to dethrone a lot of fighters.
Tremendous performance by Ike Corte. And now let's turn our attention to the second main event of the evening, upcoming. Pernell Whitaker against a tough Puerto Rican fighter named Wilfredo Rivera. Rivera, like Whitaker, is unbeaten, or excuse me, Rivera's unbeaten. Whitaker is not on the record, but Larry, the noted trainer Teddy Atlas, regarded by many as one of the very best in the sport, had Wilfredo Rivera for a brief period of time a few years ago. And he seems to think, has been telling a lot of people here on the island, that Rivera has a tremendous chance to score a shocking upset over Whitaker tonight. The betting odds on the fight, which as early as, or as recently as 24 hours ago, were up at 6.5 or 7 to 1 favoring Whitaker, are now down to 2.5 to 1. There's a lot of Puerto Rican money on Rivera, but a lot of wise guys at the end thinking maybe Rivera does have a chance. Are we missing something?
Well, I think when you have an aging champion, everybody's looking to see if there's some way, you know, he can get knocked off. But I don't think we'll miss it since we're here if something does happen. But it's a very, very big if as far as I'm concerned. There are two factors that this kind of opinion really reflects. One is that at 32 years of age, Pernell Whitaker is not getting any better. And that perhaps he is most vulnerable now to a good fighter he hasn't prepared well for, rather than an outstanding fighter like Corte or Trinidad, who he has prepared for. And as far as we can hear, and as far as we can find out, he may not have prepared as well as he might for this fight. He says he's prepared for 2 months. We found out he actually didn't go into the gym just a month ago. The other factor is that Pernell Whitaker has always had a bit of a reputation as a guy who lived and partied hard between fights, between his training periods, but he would train hard. But in the last year, there have been several incidents that he's been involved with, minor celebrity-type incidents, and people are starting to think, well, he's losing his grip a little, and maybe he's living and partying a little too hard at this age. I'll believe that he's had it, this best pure boxer of our generation, or maybe a couple of generations, Jim, when I see it.
Well, let's take a look at a rundown on those, quote, celebrity incidents you mentioned. A month and a half ago, there was a dust-up outside a hotel in San Antonio with policemen, at least as reported in newspapers, at the All-Star weekend for the NBA All-Star game. No charges were filed there. And in December, Whitaker was reportedly involved in a bar brawl in Pensacola, Florida, when he was there for a charity basketball game against a team headed by Roy Jones. Again, no charges were filed there. So far, Pernell is able to substantiate his claim that he has not done anything for which he can be seen to be legally wrong. George, as is normally the case in a situation like this, Pernell insists he's never seen a Wilfredo Rivera fight and doesn't think he has to watch one. At what point could that be a problem for a champion getting on in years?
I think that'll never be a problem with Pernell Whitaker. Pound for pound, he's probably the smartest fighter in the world. Because this guy, now with the NFL, NBA, everybody's studying films. Believe me, Pernell Whitaker is not behind the times. He's right there on schedule with everyone else.
You're saying that you think he's trying to fool us when he says he hasn't seen Wilfredo Rivera.
He knows more about this guy than we do.
All right.
Believe me.
Well, as a 1968 Olympic gold medalist, George, you can perfectly understand why Pernell says that the biggest moment of his boxing career, never to be topped, was his 1984 Olympic gold medal winning performance in Los Angeles. The subject came up again recently as Pernell sparred with some Olympic hopefuls and looked forward as a fan and a boxer to this summer's Olympics in Atlanta.
When you first start, I mean, you in it that, you know, it's how good you could do. Then you get to a certain part where you want to go to the top and just go to the limit. And the limit right now for the amateurs is the Olympics.
The Olympics, a plateau Pernell Whitaker reached in 1984 when he won a gold medal in the Los Angeles Summer Games.
I mean, it's a dream of anyone, you know, to represent their country. I mean, if I hadn't been there to represent before, I would have loved to have the opportunity to go and be a part of the Olympic dream.
Now, almost 12 years later, Whitaker might have liked to strike gold again, but rules of the Amateur International Boxing Association prohibit him from participating in the Olympics.
We have never endeavored to have any professionals boxing amateurs, and I don't foresee any change in the future, although if other sports, and I've been doing it, there's a possibility that a suit can be started because of discrimination, that this sport is being discriminated and the professionals would want to become involved.
Indeed, as professional athletes from other sports continue to infiltrate the Olympic Games, and amateur athletes are forced aside to make way for the dream teams, do professional prize fighters deserve the same right, the right to go back for the gold, when their sport differs so radically from amateur boxing?
The other sports that have professionals are non-combat sports. The whole intent of boxing is to disable the opponents, and that's really not what the Olympic Games is about. It's respect, and maybe you can pin the opponent in judo or in wrestling, and in boxing you win on the points, and a knockout is not necessarily going to give you more points than you can get otherwise. So I guess all of this is to say that at this moment in time, with the questions about boxing in general, this would not be a good time to insist that professionals be eligible for the games.
It would be almost fatal when you think that Mike Tyson would be boxing the #1 heavyweight in the amateurs. If somebody got killed in an Olympic Games or in World Championships, that would be the death knell to boxing.
Or an early damaging blow to true amateurs, like the ones who've trained with Pernell in preparation for the Olympic trials. They, and the generations to follow, will be the ones affected most if Olympic boxing changes.
If that was to happen, it would take a lot from amateur boxing. I don't think amateur boxing would exist anymore because of the simple fact that just about everybody in amateur boxing strives for the Olympic gold and for the Olympics.
It's just not giving a lot of amateurs, a chance. To see the different parts of the world, meet different people, which the pros have already met, or should be meeting further on in the future.
Let them stay as the pros and we stay as the amateurs. Let us get the gold medal, and we'll go to the professionals then. We'll take care of business, if we ever meet in the professionals.
USA, 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 Sweet Pea, go!
For Sweet Pea Whitaker, it's a puzzling conundrum: to help the fighters he's training with, or to represent the United States again himself.
I would do it again, of course, but, I would have to be asked to be on the Olympic team. I would never step in there and fight against him and take the dream away from a younger kid, because first of all, it'll discourage the kid, being in the ring with me. And, and then I don't want to hurt anyone.
He's had the opportunity. These other kids want theirs. But why single out boxing? If Jordan can go, if Gretzky can go, why not Sweet Pea?
And as we bring you back live, let's emphasize it's a philosophical question only. Certainly Pernell has no intention of challenging Olympic eligibility standards this year or in 2002 to go to Sydney. The question remains interesting nevertheless. And let's look at the tail of the tape now for Pernell Whitaker against Wilfredo Rivera. Whitaker, 32 years old, just turned so a little bit earlier this year, gives up 4 inches in height to Rivera, who's a big welterweight, sees himself as becoming at least a junior middleweight and perhaps somewhere in his career a middleweight fighter. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
All right, let's go to our punch stat numbers. This is in his last 15 fights, Whitaker has been remarkably consistent over those fights, landing more than half of his punches. Rivera against Cassius Clay Horn, another southpaw last year. These are the numbers, not with the same accuracy as Whitaker. Take a look at the jabs now. You can see they both throw as many jabs on average, but once again, Whitaker with that great accuracy.
What are the rules, Harold?
The Pernell Whitaker Wilfredo Rivera fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you can be saved by the bell only in the 12th and final round. Jim.
And as you look at this makeshift boxing scene, once again, just to underline the point in case you weren't with us at the very beginning of the evening, we are in an outdoor courtyard at a gambling casino. The seats that you see are folding chairs which were arrayed around this ring late this afternoon. The ring itself was flown in from New Jersey at a cost of $11,700. The bell came from Las Vegas. The ring doctors came from Nevada. The overall officiating supervisor, Larry Hazard, is here on his own nickel from New Jersey. Everybody pitching in to help the folks in San Martin do something they're not used to doing, host a big night of boxing. And here's Wilfredo Rivera. You see the graphic, one championship fight. This is the first time for Rivera, just to underline the huge disparity in experience. Pernell Whitaker has more rounds in championship fights than Rivera has rounds of professional boxing in his career.
But that can be said about almost everybody in the division, Jim.
Told you about the betting enthusiasm in the casino for this guy in the last 24 hours.
Well, I mark it up to two factors. One, people don't like the lay odds. And two, we aren't that far from Puerto Rico, his home base. And the third factor is this question of Whitaker, who, in addition to the other things we mentioned earlier, barely and questionably made weight early in the day.
And the ring record for Wilfredo Rivera, 23 wins, the one draw against Levander Johnson of the United States, an excellent fighter in a 4-round fight early in his career. 14 KOs. He has a modicum of power, but really doesn't see himself as a power puncher. He sees himself as a boxing technician.
And yet, like everybody else that Pernell Whitaker has fought in whatever division it's been, this opponent is stronger than Whitaker. He's always fighting somebody stronger than he is.
That's a good point, Larry. And here comes Pernell Whitaker in the 6th defense of his welterweight title. This is one of only 4 guys in the history of the sport. The others are Hearns, Leonard, and Duran, who have won world championships in 4 separate weight classes.
Pernell Whitaker playing the crowd, getting the crowd on his side.
Well, as great as Quartey was in the opener, this is the biggest star of the night. He gets ready for his 40th fight. He tries to re-embellish his credentials as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. That, in the eyes of most, has become an ongoing 2-man derby between Whitaker and 168-pound world champion Roy Jones Jr. Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introduction.
And maintenant, mesdames et messieurs, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Main Events Monitor, AB Stars production, along with your undisputed king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you, in association with Cedric Kushner Promotions and the Atlantis Casino here in the beautiful St. Martin, San Martin, present part 2 of the double welterweight rumble, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Welterweight Championship of the World. Once again, this bout is sanctioned by the St. Martin Boxing Commission President, Jacinth Brian LaVega, and the World Boxing Council President, Jose Suleiman, WBC Supervisor at ringside, Mario Latraverse. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system assigned at ringside will be Barbara Perez, George St. Oda, and Tomatsu Tamihara, and when the bell rings, the referee in charge of the action from Great Britain, Larry O'Connell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again for the 2nd time tonight, from the Emerald Island here in the Caribbean, St. Martin, Saint Martin, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white and weighing in at 147 pounds. His professional record, 23 victories without a defeat, with 1 draw and 14 KOs to his credit. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, con Israel Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, introducing the #1 ranked WBC welterweight contender in the world, the undefeated challenger, Wilfredo Rivera. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white, trimmed with red and blue, and also weighing 147 pounds. Since capturing Olympic gold in 1988, he has won 6 world titles in 4 weight divisions, and his 37 victories with 16 KOs, 1 disputed loss, 1 disputed draw, make him without a doubt, pound for pound, one of the best fighters over the last decade in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting from Norfolk, Virginia, the WBC welterweight champion of the world, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
Pernell, Wilfredo. You've heard your instructions inside the dressing rooms. I expect you to behave like gentlemen. Keep your punching on target. Good luck to both of you.
Rivera is one of those fighters, Jim, you know, that I tend to fall in love with when they come out of nowhere to challenge for a title. Most often it turns out to be a one-night stand. Let's see if we can get a more serious relationship going here.
Wilfredo Rivera, no stranger to southpaws. This will be the 8th time in his 25-fight pro career that he's fought against a southpaw opponent. Is that important going against Whitaker, George?
Well, most importantly, you got to be enthusiastic. You're going up against a good, experienced southpaw. You just can't beat him fighting against a southpaw. You just got to get out there and be silly about your aggression.
Whitaker lands a straight left hand. Tactical start for both fighters. Rivera looking to find a way to start sticking the jab, and Pernell just pawing back at him, as if to say, okay, if you're going to paw with your jab, I'll tap you a few times too.
Whitaker hasn't started to drop his hands and do the little tricks that he normally does. That means he's a bit tight right now. Once he finds himself at home and starts playing his tricks, you'll know that he's relaxed.
Kind of a look what I found counter right inside by Rivera as Pernell Whitaker walked into it while looking for an opportunity to get in. You see Pernell ducking and looking as he will occasionally do. Rivera that time with a lead right hand. He'll occasionally switch to a southpaw stance because he throws that lead right hand well enough to use it as a jab.
When you're a veteran like Pernell Whitaker, your whole career is dependent on how many tricks that you're able to bring to mind quickly in 3 minutes time every round. Power is one thing, endurance is another, but you got to have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. You got to drop your hand, draw your opponent. You got to do something, stick your head out or something to make him start throwing punches. You don't want him to be conservative at all.
Whitaker in his last fight got a rare 6th round knockout over Jake Rodriguez. Prior to that, he had had 10 straight decisions in title defenses. And as far as tricks are concerned, this man knows everyone in the book and has invented some that aren't yet in the book.
Not only so, he's starting to land punches to the belly of Rivera.
Pernell grinning at his own antics here as referee Larry O'Connell says, let's get serious. And round 1 comes to a close. As we go to Rivera's corner, and he waves to the crowd with the Puerto Rican banners in the background. Our interpreter is Hector Garcia.
Take it easy. Just be relaxed. Don't forget what we tried at the gym. We practiced, we worked on those moves. Don't forget what we practiced. Your lateral moves are very important. And just go for it.
Simple as that, all right? Now, watching the time, he's going to come right with the hook. But look, move that head. Just keep the head moving and keep sticking him with the jab. Body and chest, body and chest. Forget his head. But keep him with that left hand. Keep moving that head. That's all you got to do. Stop that jab. Punch this guys up with the jab.
The early impression is that it will take Whitaker a much longer time to take the bark off his opponent than it did for Ike Quartey to do it to his opponent. This is the kind of guy it's very hard to look good against.
And that's sort of to be expected given the disparity in their styles. Pernell isn't a knockout puncher and doesn't look for the opportunity very often.
But the veterans, it's very important when you're a veteran like Pernell Whitaker to win this fight in the first three rounds, so that you get the guy reaching, jumping, flinching, and the fight is not hard as it go on. But you take him out of the fight in the first 3 rounds.
And you do that through what? Guile or aggression?
You hit them in the body a lot and in the chest to take the power away, number one. And secondly, make him be unsure of everything that he does from that point on. Make him unsure about everything.
Well, you saw Rivera's very low connect percentage in the first round, only 17%. That's pretty typical of opponents who get in against Whitaker and find him very difficult to locate.
Whitaker knows everything about himself. He knows if he gets low, make the opponent get low, he no longer has the height and reach disadvantage. He got a lot of tricks he plays out there. You got to keep him up. When a guy's taller than you, make him shorter.
So by bringing Rivera down to him, he eliminates the taller man's leverage.
That's true, and that's what you do. You keep stooping down. Finally, the tall guy gets low, too.
Right, come out.
Whitaker landing the jab flush. Rivera trying to come back to the body. Now Whitaker lands a straight left hand.
Right, come out. Right from the toe, that's it. I'll bring your hands around.
And as a veteran boxer like Whitaker, you throw heavy punches, never to knock a guy down, but only to make him respect you.
There's a good straight right hand by Rivera, but so far it looks to me like the tall Puerto Rican is just too cautious, George. He's going to have to throw all this caution to the wind and go.
You got to do it. Probably the greatest fight I've ever seen in that weight division is Jose Napoli. Threw away his scientific fighting ability and attacked Curtis Coke like an amateur and won every round.
Hands down, get her out. Punch it on top, let go of your right arm.
Whitaker looping a left-hand lead. Rivera simply looking confused against the master of deception. Straight right hand lands for Whitaker. Second round, not much better than the first for Wilfredo Rivera.
Ok, Wilfredo, llevamos dos. Llevamos dos. La pelea está pareja.
The fight is even. We have 2 rounds already in. The fight is even. Your lateral moves are very important. I don't want to keep telling you. The lateral movements are very important. Go low, go below.
Tiene que estar más vivo con la recta de él. Oíste, que no te
Snap the jab, right? And then get your combinations off. He's trying to hit you with the right hand. That's all he's got. And don't stand in front of him too long. Turn him, feint him.
Move that head, baby. Move that head. Start getting him a lot of head moving now. Give him a little bit of bullshit.
You're doing beautiful out there.
Take a little step to the right when you jab. All right, second round.
Right here.
You heard the voices of Ronnie Shields and Lou Duva in the corner of Pernell Whitaker.
Rivera's lifetime ambition is to be an accountant, which tells you something about his temperament and personality. He's going to win this fight. He's going to have to go to the gaming tables a few yards from here, take his hands out of his pockets and put his sharp pencil away and just go to work.
You know, an extremely devout Christian. Rivera yesterday, when we met with him, had his Bible in his room open to the book of Job. And as George reaffirmed to us, Job is the ultimate lesson in patience. He's been too patient here so far.
No doubt about it. You've got to get a little amateurish with Pernell Whitaker. The more professional you get, he's the best at that. Once you get stupid and out of range and he can't calculate what you're going to do, then you'll win points.
Just brawl him. Change it up. Rivera leaning back after he throws his punches. Now he gets to the body as Whitaker comes in. And another good right-hand body shot for Rivera again as Whitaker was coming in.
Now Whitaker's got to protect himself from these kind of body punches. You take away a little of his jab, he's dropping his right hand now.
There's a cut, a bad cut, probably from a headbutt.
Over the eye of Rivera.
On Rivera's forehead. And we're just in the third round, Harold. What does it mean?
Well, at this point, if they stop the fight on a kind of an accidental headbutt, it's a technical draw. You got to go 4 rounds before we go to the scorecards. 4 completed rounds.
Flip Pomansky has given permission for the fight to go ahead. He doesn't think it's dangerous. It is high on the forehead, just below the hairline.
Well, maybe this will be what it takes to release Rivera's inhibitions, but as the blood starts to flow again, Whitaker lands a solid left.
And it's flowing into his eye. That's what makes it dangerous. It's not the cut itself. It's the blood flowing into that left eye.
That cut is in an awkward place, George. You think there's any chance they can get it stopped?
Right, because he started messing up his vision. He started blinking a lot. Pomansky from Las Vegas, very cautious doctor. He's had some bad incidents in his life, and he's not going to see them happen again.
Rivera switching southpaw now, so that the lead eye is now the right eye, where the blood is not trickling into his eye.
Very smart.
Terrific tactical move by Wilfredo Rivera, and now immediately he lands 2 solid shots.
The blood may be worse than the cut, but it's pretty bad, that blood. I don't think I can recall anybody looking quite as bloody as this.
Big job between rounds for the cut man, Jim Strickland, in Wilfredo Rivera's corner.
And the Dr. Flip Pomansky is coming up on the ring apron to check it out.
Now this is the second stoppage in the round by the referee, and this takes place with scant seconds remaining before the bell. Time for maybe one more Rivera shot, and then the bell is going to ring. Jim Strickland gets right in front of the fighter and goes to work.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
There's the cut.
It's okay. This is okay.
They're putting some kind of an ointment on it.
Harold, what are the legal substances to put in the cut?
Well, generally, in these title fights, they only allow you to use adrenaline 1 to 1,000. But most cornermen make an agreement. They let you use Thrapin or Avatine. I think he's using Avatine.
Now let's take a look and catch the butt. Right there. Right there. One heady fighter to another.
I think the blood on the top of Whitaker's head comes from Rivera. Harold, will the Avatine stop the bleeding considerably more rapidly than would have been the case with the adrenaline solution?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. All the good cornermen want to use Avatine today. Incidentally, Jim Strickland, the cut man, registered pharmacist, former pharmacy owner in Chicago. Good cut man.
Did a good job here. Has stopped the flow for the moment.
Harold, who is a pharmacist himself, is partial The pharmacist.
He knows a good pharmacist when he sees one, huh? Now that cut is way too high on Rivera's head for Whitaker to even begin to think of targeting it, right, George?
The good thing about it, you send Rivera back to his corner, and they're thinking more about the cut than they are instruction. And that's what you gain with a cut like this. Get them out of their game plan, and that's what this cut has done.
Now Rivera's going to stay in this southpaw stance for a while. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see him stay in it the rest of the way.
No doubt about it. He's showing him the side that's not bleeding. That's only going to help.
And it also gives him a chance to see better because that lead eye is the one that isn't bothered. Good, strong left hand over the top by Rivera. I think Whitaker's thrown off by the southpaw stance a little bit here, George.
It'll make him fight a bit more. When Whitaker's thrown off, he starts trying to fight. And sometimes a veteran needs to get out there and know he's got to fight to win these fights.
Whitaker lands a hard left-hand counter inside. Straight right hand by Whitaker. Rivera momentarily stunned. Pernell with a roundhouse left, and Pernell Whitaker senses a chance here and starts to get aggressive.
Not only so, he made his opponent switch for a moment back into his customary right-hand stand. And a veteran, look at these things. Everything you do, they think about, I made him switch.
All right, George, we're going to go over to Larry Merchant right now, who has gone over to Jim Strickland, the cut man, in Wilfredo Rivera's corner. Larry?
All right, Jim, would you tell us how dangerous that cut is, if at all, and what danger it poses?
Well, if we don't stop the bleeding, it's very dangerous because it'll blind him. He won't be able to see them. You saw how the blood was bleeding, you saw how profusely it was bleeding. But I think I'm able to control that blood.
What did you put on it to try to control
I used a mixture of Avatine, lanolin, and I flooded it with adrenaline.
All right, thank you very much.
Some bleeding now from the top of Rivera's skull, not nearly the deluge that gushed out of there right after the cut came in round number 3. So Rivera making his way through round 4 with reasonable control and not too much more damage from the butt cut on his head.
Ya se controló la herida.
It's already stopped. The bleeding's already stopped. So just relax. Don't worry about it.
Coge aire, caballo. Coge aire. Ahora, escúchame.
Listen to me.
Está metiendo la mano bien a los zurdos.
Try to hit him in the shoulders now. Go to the shoulders. And apply. You have to apply more pressure. I need you to be more aggressive. You have to be more aggressive.
Métele presión. You got to throw with this guy here. You throw 2 or 3 punches, he can't do nothing.
And look, don't stand right in front of the guy.
No, give him a lot of fame. Give him a lot of
around. Get some face, and when you get close, you got to start hitting him in the body.
All right, second shot. Give him a lot of bullshit out there.
Round 5 coming up. Round 4 was the best in the fight so far for Rivera.
Maybe the desperation that comes from being cut and feeling and tasting his own blood has activated the gambling instinct in Rivera.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it so far?
Well, Jim, I've got it 3 rounds to 1, 39-37. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Jim, I think the mistake that Wilfredo Rivera's making is he's standing straight up. I mean, he told us he was going to give his head movement, he was going to bob and weave, and he lied. He's standing straight up like a totem pole. He's an easy target for Pernell Whitaker's left hand.
Harold, you must have given Rivera round 4.
Exactly. I get in the 4th round. You know, they landed the same amount of punches, but Wilfredo really landed the hardest shots in the 4th.
I have the same score.
And Rivera is back to his conventional stance, George. Now he switches back to southpaw again.
And the point is, Rivera is not standing up. He's bending his knees down to Pernell Whitaker's height with his head up. If he would only get his legs a little closer together, he'd have a reach and height advantage, and he's not doing that.
What about the lateral movement his corner keeps crying for?
You don't need lateral movement if you're above, you're up there in the sky. One thing you don't want to do is move your head because your head is already out of the way when you're taller.
He brought his head down far enough to allow Whitaker to land that over-the-top left hand. Pernell starting to throw harder punches now as the fight progresses. There are some in Whitaker's camp who are worried about his stamina because he had the flu during training, and then he got a bronchial condition afterward and eventually took antibiotics to clear it up. But he did not have the best possible training circumstances.
And right now, Pernell Whitaker, the veteran, has got his right hand low. He's pacing himself, and this is when Rivera could be aggressive and win some points here.
But it just doesn't seem to be in him to be aggressive enough, and now the blood is starting to flow again. All right, Harold, we're into round 5 now, so let's reinterpret the rule on the accidental headbutt cut.
Okay, Jim, as long as referee Larry O'Connell says that that cut was caused by an accidental headbutt, since 4 completed rounds have, since 4 rounds have been completed, if the fight is stopped because of that cut, we go to the scorecards. Even if it's stopped in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th round, we still go to the scorecards if the fight is stopped because of the cut that was originally produced by a headbutt.
Whitaker is starting to land that overhand left with some regularity, and he might just have a chance to whack Rivera out of here, George, because he's throwing more power shots than he normally does.
Whitaker, as a matter of fact, he looks down on himself when he tries to get a knockout. He'll land those punches, but it's about give me my respect.
Estás dejando que el tipo te robe el ataque todo el tiempo. Así estamos jodidos, caballo.
We're not doing too good. You allowed him to get in. You have to apply pressure. Come on, man. Those lateral movements, I keep telling you. Those punches to the head. Go to the body first. Drink some water.
Wilfredo,
you have to apply the pressure.
El jab,
the jab.
Y vamos al cuerpo primero. ¿Oíste?
You're going to be in the same place, baby.
So 2 or 3 shots at one time.
Second shot.
All right, 2 or 3 shots. Come on, 2 or 3 shots.
Round 6 begins on the island of San Martin. The wind starting to whip through this outdoor makeshift boxing setting just a little bit more strongly than before. Rivera back in the conventional stance. That exposes the side of his head, which is cut to Whitaker's right jab.
That's right. He's still making that mistake of spreading his legs too far, bringing his height advantage down. The giant in Jack and the Beanstalk, you don't get the giant doesn't try to bob and weave with Jack. He uses his height.
So in this case, Jack doesn't even have to chop down the Beanstalk because the Beanstalk is coming to him. Whitaker not as technically proficient so far as is normally the case, at least not by our punch stat numbers. He's landing at about a 16% lower rate than is normally the case. Rivera getting some chances, especially when he goes to this southpaw stance.
Now the veteran starts to play his tricks.
And Rivera remembering to go to the body there. Good idea. He got a couple body shots in on Whitaker in the early rounds, and he'd be well advised to keep after it.
That's true. Now, Whitaker, when you're not in good shape, you got to act like you're in good shape.
Right-left combination landing for Whitaker.
Whitaker, what he's doing, he lands a good shot, then he makes his opponent try to pay him back. Then all you do is step out of the way, let him expend some more of his energy.
They're holding. Yeah.
Straight left hand lands for Whitaker. It's become a tactical boxing match. It's very tough to beat Pernell Whitaker in a tactical boxing match.
No doubt about it. Now he knows he's going to try to pay him back now. You coach.
You're throwing one punch and then you quit, all right? Now look, this guy is too tall for that, all right? You can't just throw one shot and get away with it all the time. You gotta go behind 2, 3, 4 punches, just stepping around this guy. You ain't gotta fight with this guy. You can just keep boxing like you're boxing, okay? But you gotta be busier. That's all it is.
You're not busy enough, Pete. You're not busy enough.
Come on, Beto.
Ponle más presión.
You have to put the pressure. We're not going to catch up with this guy if you don't apply pressure. You have to do it now. If we want to stop this guy, you got to apply the pressure. Otherwise, we're never going to do it. So go for it, man. You have to throw those punches low. Combination.
All right. Ordinarily, Pernell Whitaker frustrates this type of awkward, tough, willing fighter in the first half of the fight, makes him come to him and open up, and then runs away with it in the second half of the fight. But we have to ask the question again, is he in the kind of top shape that he can do that same thing he has done over and over?
Whitaker only threw 47 punches in round 6. That's a very low work rate for him. He only connected on 27% of them. That's an extremely low connect percentage for him. So there are some dark signs on the horizon for Whitaker, despite the fact that he has been up to now in control of the fight against a fighter who is trying to deal with a very deep cut near his hairline on the left side of his head.
But that cut did not bother him in the last round, didn't open up, and appears to be no factor at this moment.
Credit Jim Strickland, the cut man, with having gotten the job done up to now.
Head up. Right. Come on, man, get your head up. Get your head up. Box off.
Rivera's back in the conventional stance. If he gets a little bit more aggressive and starts throwing at a higher rate, Whitaker's going to have to work here.
Stand back, stand right back, stand right back.
All the veteran Whitaker is doing now, apply some pressure, land about 3 or 4 punches to the pit of the stomach, and keep close to him while you're resting.
So he's coasting.
He's coasting, generally coasting to get his wind back. Stay close.
You saw Rivera literally holding his left glove over the cut to protect his head.
Okay, box up.
Body shots at close range. Rivera goes back to the southpaw stance, gaming with Whitaker just a little bit.
That's what a veteran wants from a young fighter. Make him pose, throw his punches, ball your fist up, make pose for me, and give me a little time to rest. And that's what Whitaker is getting.
There's a small mouse next to the right eye of Pernell Whitaker, George. Now, Pernell has no history of cutting, but there is a tiny blemish, a mouse, right at the edge of his eye.
And he's very frustrated as he goes to the corner.
Well, from
from St. Martin tonight to South Dakota next Saturday night. Join us April 20 when HBO Boxing After Dark presents Virgil Hill, defending his light heavyweight title against undefeated contender Lou Del Valle, plus a heavyweight match featuring Lou Savarese and Buster Mathis Jr. Some of the best in the business work the night shift, as you'll see next Saturday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. You considered fighting Lou Savarese at one point, didn't you, George?
I don't know about that.
You didn't think about it?
No.
Okay.
Hold up those hands. That's all. This guy's getting desperate now. All right, guys.
Let's take a look here and see something we've caught in our replays, how Rivera is stepping on Pernell Whitaker's feet and punching, but he's getting away with it. It doesn't appear to be purposeful, but it's effective. And this fight is kind of ugly. It's a boxing, mauling, brawling, what? Harold, how do you have it after 7 rounds?
Well, Larry, I've got it a little bit closer. 67-66, 4 rounds to 3. Pernell Whitaker. I thought that Wilfredo Rivera did enough in round 6 and 7 to win those rounds, make it a little bit closer. But the only thing is, I really question what Jim Strickland's using on that cut. Because I'll tell you, he really closed it up awful fast. There's something funny about that. I don't know. I hate to say he's using Mansell solution, which is illegal, but I want to tell you, that thing's not legal at all. I find it strange.
Well, what would happen if they found out that it was an illegal substance?
Then he should lose under disqualification. I mean, you're not allowed to do it.
But under what rules would it be illegal? There's no local commission here, Harold.
But there is a local commission. They're just being aided by Gary Shaw and Larry Hazzard. But I don't know. Do you guys notice the same thing I'm noticing? It's not, oh, now it opened up.
Well, I mean, we're giving Strickland credit for having done a terrific job, and that's as far as we can go, frankly, Harold, because we don't know what he put in there.
Exactly. But, boy, the last 2 rounds, I mean, all you saw was that black mass there.
The thing about it, Pernell Whitaker went to the body and pushed and shoved a lot. He didn't even throw a lot of head punches at all. Tried to rest, take a little out of his opponent. Now he's going to the head a bit this round.
Yep, and here comes the blood again out of the cut. So while it was effectively closed between rounds, it's opened up again here. Rivera, who has never knocked an opponent out past the 7th round, has to look at the likelihood of going the distance here. He switches back to the southpaw stance now to protect the bloody eye on the left side. Whitaker looking for a chance to pop to the body as he holds Rivera with his right arm.
He knows every trick in the book, no doubt about it. Whitaker's a cat, and he can scratch. Is taking the charge with the left with his right jab, and that should never happen with a taller opponent.
Good hard right hand by Rivera as Whitaker was stepping in. And Rivera now landing the harder shots and backing Whitaker up round after round. This could get interesting. You saw that Harold has it with only a 1-point margin after 7 rounds.
Whitaker's pretty smart. He picks a fight and he steps out of there. That's what you want to do with the younger fighter. Make them expend some of that energy. Pick the fight, but don't get into it. Back away once they start swinging.
That's about the ugliest right hand I've ever seen.
Tira las piernas y abre las manos. Abre los guantes, abre los guantes, abre los guantes.
Coge aire.
Close your ass.
No le des la nariz, no le tapa la nariz.
Now you're okay.
Wilfredo, escúchame.
Listen to me, Wilfredo.
Vamos para el 9.
We're going to the 9th round.
Wilfredo, quedan 4 asaltos.
There's only 4 rounds left.
¿Me entiendes?
We have to do this now.
Ponle presión.
Apply that pressure.
Óyeme, vamos abajo y después subimos.
Let's go down to the body and then go up to the head. You have to use your combinations.
Está bien, pero vamos a trabajar. El ojo está bien.
Your eyes is okay. Your eyes okay. But we have to work. Throw punches.
This is back in round 3 when their heads collided and Rivera's head took the worst of it. It does seem, Jim and George, that when it bleeds, that Whitaker wins the round.
No doubt about it. The judges look at it like that.
You think that influences judges, George?
I'm a judge. Of course, I've never been one, but Harold Letterman has been. I'd look at that blood and say, oh, the guy's getting crushed.
Harold, how about you?
Larry, it shouldn't. You score the punches, you don't score the blood. Unfortunately, you're right, it does. A lot of judges, they see a guy bleeding, they just look at the other guy. You're 100% correct. It does influence the judges, and it shouldn't.
But here's what else the judges might have seen in the last 2 rounds. Rivera almost doubling Whitaker's punch output, landing more punches, and constantly coming forward while Pete backs up. Now another timeout.
Jim, let me say this much. This is getting interesting. If they stop it here, they score the partial round. In other words, they would score round 9. You know, round 9 would become part of the scoring here, even though very little of round 9 has been completed.
But they're not stopping it, Harold. They're checking his glove at this point because apparently some of the tape came unwrapped. And it seems to me a rest like that has to benefit Whitaker at this point.
Amen to that. Whitaker knows that Rivera's corner has told him to get out there and get on top of this guy. Try to finish him out. And now he can just step and jab. Jab, jab, step away. Occasionally open up with a combination, but maintain, he thinks, his lead.
Now here comes the blood again. Whitaker with a hard right hand to the body. Rivera tapping punches. He doesn't throw nearly as hard when he's in the conventional stance and when the bloody side of his head is toward Pernell Whitaker. He's much more aggressive when he turns around and goes southpaw.
Yeah, he seems not to care about the cut on his head as much.
Box up.
Crowd not quite certain what they're watching in a lot of instances here. Of course, they don't have the benefit of a replay to see that the cut came from an accidental headbutt. Whitaker lands a hard right hand coming in, and Rivera switches back to the southpaw side.
And the veteran Whitaker is doing smart stuff. He's a counterpuncher, and he's got a contender playing the counterpuncher game with him. Things just couldn't be better for him.
Whitaker just missed a haymaker left.
You're going to see Lou Duba jump on Pernell Whitaker this round. Whitaker drops his right hand down.
This is beginning to look a little bit like a bullfight, with the bullfighter just poking blood from the bull.
Wilfredo, toma agua.
Wilfredo, drink some water.
A few wraps around it, okay? Wilfredo, ¿me oye? Sí.
Look at that punch output for Whitaker, guys. He only threw 38 punches in the round.
You have to keep applying that pressure. You keep working.
Oye.
Listen to me.
Wilfredo, ese es el trabajo. Tiene que trabajar más.
3 rounds, 3 rounds. You got it, man. All right, come on, let's go. Let's get them together, man.
Get the combinations off.
That's all we need.
Earlier we showed you Rivera stepping on Whitaker's foot and hitting. And here you're seeing just the opposite. Whitaker stepping on Rivera's foot. It often happens with left-handers when they meet, changing stances. It's inadvertent, but it does affect what happens when they do step on each other's feet.
Rivera begins round 10 with a right hand lead. Whitaker pecking and moving, pecking and moving. And Harold Letterman now has Rivera leading the fight. the constant aggressor, and Whitaker is backing up. Now here comes Pernell coming in. He's going to have to rally, I think, in these last 3 rounds, George, to be absolutely certain of making his impression on the judges.
You know, the thing about Whitaker's been landing some hard shots. And once you do that, you have a tendency to ease up and say, I heard him, why throw a whole bunch more? I'm winning around. It's not looked at sometimes by the judges. They see you just didn't throw a lot of punches. They don't even count the hardness of your shots.
Well, Whitaker has never had to land hard shots to win. He's done it by piling up points round after round. He's won 83% of the rounds he's fought, almost all of them in championship fights, since his only loss to Jose Luis Ramirez several years ago. Pernell's mouth constantly open as he breathes through his mouth. Of course, both fighters have a right to be tired as they come through the 10th.
This is a time in your career, you're smart, you've won a lot of boxing matches, but you need some advice from your corner. And once the corner gives you the advice, you got to take it.
Whitaker leaping in to try to land there.
Whitaker needs some advice now.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's gotten the sense of urgency out of Ronnie Shields and Lou Duva that might be appropriate for this situation.
Well, he's playing right into the old counter-punches game. Now he's throwing, leading, and Rivera is catching him on the counter. Whitaker doesn't like that.
And Pete smiles and laughs at Rivera, and Rivera smiles and laughs right back at him as round 10 comes to a close.
I know he did. Hey, come on. We need, hey, Pete, I know he did. Pete, we need a round. Pete, stay still. You gotta let swing in. Stay still. Let Joe do his job. Okay. Listen, just pay attention. Go ahead, Joe. Look, Pete, just pay attention, all right? Just pay attention to me.
I'm gonna stay in the middle of that motherfucking ring.
Stay in the middle, but you gotta move your hands. Let me take the mouthpiece out. You gotta move your hands. You understand? We need one of these 2 rounds. That's all we need. We need 1 round, baby. 1 round.
2 rounds to go, man. You have to go. You have to give me the best 2 rounds of your life right now. I have to apply that pressure. Give me the best 2 rounds. Let's go. You want to be a champ? You got to do this.
Just a reminder, fellas, that earlier I said that a good fighter you haven't prepared seriously for can become more of a danger than a much better fighter you have prepared seriously for. It's never easy to know how much of a factor that is here, but this is a closer fight than many people anticipated.
How close, Harold Letterman?
Okay, Jim, I honestly believe that Pernell Whitaker is in definite danger of losing this fight. I've got it 6 rounds to 4, 96-94, Wilfredo Rivera. He's the aggressor. He's landing the hardest shots. Pete's backing up. Give Wilfredo credit for clean punching, effective aggressiveness, good defense. I think he's winning, and that's all there is to it. I've given him the last 5 rounds in a row.
I have Whitaker ahead by the same score, 6 rounds to 4.
I pretty much say it the same way. Whitaker's ahead, but barely. Whitaker's ahead in my book. He's going to have to maintain that lead by getting a bit more aggressive. Whenever Rivera doubles up on that right hand, he just can't miss Whitaker's face.
The judges are from New Jersey, Trinidad, and Hawaii. So 2 of the 3 are American judges. And of course, both of these technically are American fighters. Now Whitaker chopping away with the left hand as he begins to become more active in the 11th.
And I think that's kept Whitaker in the fight, that right jab of his. Whenever he gets behind, he applies that pressure with the jab, and the points start to add up again.
I say both fighters technically are American. Of course, I refer to the fact that Puerto Rico is a protectorate under the auspices of the USA. Whitaker landed
landed at a higher rate in round 10, but again, only threw 35 punches. He does seem to be trying to bring the punch output up a little bit here, George.
There's a strange look on Pernell Whitaker's face, and you don't like to see that look on a veteran fighter's face because you think, when is that last fight is going to happen? Every veteran got to look for that last fight he has in him.
Straight right hand shot lands for Rivera. And Rivera begins to fight as though he smells success. You're talking about one of the greatest champions in the sport, the man generally regarded as one of the two best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Would judges give him the benefit of the doubt, or the Puerto Rican fighter that they are likely not to have seen before? That question answers itself.
He made Pernell Whitaker miss a straight left hand in the latter round. That just doesn't happen.
Come on, baby, let's go. Hey, last round, we got to suck it up, baby. Last round, baby. This is for the gold now. This is the gold medal right here. This is the gold medal round. This is what we talking about in training camp. This is it right here. Now we got to...
You have to apply the most pressure you possibly can in the last minute. Don't let him break. Keep busy. You know we're going to win this fight.
Wilfredo, un round.
Let's go, one round to go.
You got to throw combinations at this guy, right?
Hustle, 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 baby. Don't let this guy out hustle you.
Don't let him hustle.
He can't outfight going back, you understand?
Wilfredo,
throw punches.
You heard someone in the corner telling Pernell Whitaker this was a gold medal round. The Olympics meant a lot to Pernell. He told us he wanted to do well, and this year, the first time the Olympics have been held and will be held in the U.S. since he won the gold at Los Angeles, and he has to make a statement in this round.
Whitaker fans in the crowd chanting, Pete, Pete, Pete. In the 11th, he managed to up the punch output a little. He threw 43, but Rivera threw 73. He's still backing Whitaker up most of the time. High drama in the Caribbean. Hard right hand by Rivera. And the Puerto Rican contingent comes up out of its seats.
Yeah, the hard reality is you get to be a veteran. I don't care if you had 100 boxing matches. This is still the fight game. And when it hits you in the 12th round that you got to fight, after all of this glamour of being pound for pound, all of that stuff, still got to fight to win. It hurts.
Two vicious right-hand body shots by Rivera. Whitaker comes back with a hard left hand. Rivera gets lucky with a right-hand counter inside. Still the aggressor, still backing Whitaker up. Less than a minute and a half to go.
I thought Whitaker's legs wobbled there for a moment.
More than a moment.
I think he is mondo exhausto, guys. I think all the rumors about the training are proving all too true for Pernell Whitaker.
Rivera even cut off the ring from Pernell Whitaker.
That doesn't happen either.
No one has been able to do that before.
Question, is it all coming too late? Rivera was awfully patient in the early rounds when we thought he should have gone at Whitaker a little harder.
This is what he should have been doing in the first 6 rounds.
Whitaker not throwing much. Rivera looking to land a couple more hard shots. Whitaker ducks into the corner against the taller man and doesn't get anything out of it.
Now, veteran, you got to play your tricks, and you got to play your tricks good. You got to drop your hand, you got to bounce, you got to spin, you got to run. And convince the young younger fella, hey, I've got lots of energy.
Wilfredo Rivera looking over Whitaker's shoulder at you and me, George, and winking at us.
He believes that he's taking this thing from Pernell Whitaker.
He thinks he's got it. He thinks he's got one of the biggest upsets in recent years in boxing. In a couple of minutes, we'll find out.
I think he's on it.
Look at the swelling above Whitaker's left eye. He has never looked like that before.
What happened is, when you get older, you don't want to dry out, go without water, and dehydrate yourself anymore. You want to be a wealthy fella. And what comes along with that? Puffing, swelling. You got to pay
your
those
body's
dues.
just not as resilient as it is when you're
It's
perfectly
not the
trained.
body. You just don't want to put it through the grind to make it like that anymore. You can do it, but you got to want it.
Well, according to punch-stat numbers in round 12, Whitaker threw 32 punches and Rivera threw 70. Whitaker landing 11, Rivera landing 24. I don't see how you could score the round any other way other than for Wilfredo Rivera. And there's Harold Letterman's card. Harold?
Jim, I think it's the end of an era in boxing. I've got a 115, 113, 7 rounds to 5, Wilfredo Rivera. Jim, I just go for the aggressive guy every time. I mean, this is effective aggressiveness. He moved forward. He punched. He landed. You can't take it away from a guy who's the effective aggressor. He will win 99% of the time. Wilfredo Rivera carried this fight to Whitaker, backed him up. He hurt him. He whacked him. He banged him. He did everything he has to do to become the welterweight champion of the world.
George, you think Pernell held on and won the fight?
Yeah, I think he had too many of the earlier rounds. In my mind, I think that pulls it out for him. Rivera was trying to catch up, and he caught up in the last round as far as winning, but I don't think he had enough rounds in the bank in my mind. But then I'm not a judge.
Well, there you have it. I mean, those are the two ways that this particular pendulum could swing. Either Whitaker won it by putting away the early rounds and building a commanding lead, or Rivera won it by being more aggressive and by being the commander in the late rounds. Final punch stat numbers, and you're going to look at a huge disparity in punches thrown. You can see that Wilfredo Rivera threw 175 more punches than Whitaker, landed more than Whitaker, and even though the percentage is lower, he was backing Pernell up for the last 7 rounds of the fight. Power punches, and Pernell threw more of them tonight than he might normally throw. Only landed 20 out of 93. Look at that, 402 power punches for Rivera, and he landed 141 of them. So by punch stat numbers, there's a disparity in favor of Rivera in activity, but in favor of Whitaker in terms of accuracy. Let's go to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards, and we have a split decision. Barbara Perez scores the bout 116 to 113. She has it for Rivera. George St. Ada scores the bout 115 to 113. He has it for Whitaker. Tomatsu Tamehara scores the bout 117 to 112 for the winner by split decision, and still WBC welterweight champion of the world, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. A round of applause for the game challenge.
George Foreman, I got one question for you. Did that decision say that you've got to beat a great champion like Whitaker by a wider margin than that?
No doubt about it. Rivera did a good job in the final rounds, but when it was very important to establish himself as the fighter to win this fight, he laid back too long. The first 6 rounds were clearly Pernell Whitaker and big for Pernell Whitaker.
Let's go to Larry Merchant with the winner, Sweet Pea Whitaker.
All right, Pernell, congratulations, but barely. Did you think when you heard them say split decision that you had lost this title?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a good fight. You know, these guys got to understand these guys don't come in. They come in to win. And but the fight was easy for me, you know. But
it wasn't easy for you in the last rounds when he seemed to be pressing you, hitting you more than we're used to seeing you hit.
That's you guys will spoil you. You know, you guys think I can't get hit. You know, but obviously, you know, it was a good fight. He was hungry. He wanted to win. And you can't fault that, you know. But you know, I always do the things that get me through.
Were you in the kind of condition that could give 12 Pernell Whitaker rounds?
You've seen it. You know, obviously I could go 12 rounds.
Well, no, 12 rounds, but what we saw is him coming on in the last half of the fight.
Strong fighter.
Oh, so, but, you know, I'm a good finisher. You know, I can finish. I can do it all. It's nothing I haven't done. It's nothing that I haven't done that's already been done.
What about him gave you the most trouble?
Oh, no, it was no problem. He just came in. He was ready. You know, he was ready. You know what? He came in to win the fight, and I just came in. I was prepared to take his best.
How did
take anything away from the fighter? He's a good fighter.
How did the bleeding forehead play into the fight?
Whose forehead? You know,
his forehead and all the blood that was coming.
You have to ask him. You know, I just took advantage of what I had. You know, it was a good shot. You know, if we had butted heads like that, I think I would be bleeding also.
No, but we did see on our pictures,
I know
Pernell,
you
that
always
it was
see,
a Whitaker.
You always see everything that I do wrong.
No,
you know,
Pernell,
obviously, we're going to leave out of here like this. One more time for the giver.
Well, just tell us.
You know, you have to bring in the big fights. You know, I can't keep. Obviously, these guys get up for fighters like myself just as well as. Once I can get one of these bums in the ring that can stand up and give me a challenge that I can prepare for,
all right,
then you can get a great. I just go on and on proving myself when I don't have to.
Larry,
guys
he's never, you know that.
All right, guys, like their
He'll
opponent.
fight Quattro, he'll fight Trinidad, he'll fight Chavez, he'll fight De La Hoya, he'll fight anybody out there.
All right, I know, and he'll fight me. Thank you, Great Pee-wee. Thank you, Sweet Pea.
Good game with me. Good fight. Good fight.
All right, Wilfredo, thank you very much. Congratulations on a great fight. Did you think you had won the fight?
¿Tú crees que tú tenías esa pelea ganada? Claro, estoy presionando todo el tiempo. I'm pressuring hard. I'm working hard. Every time he go for the holding, jab, holding, use your head, go in this area, you know, abajo, abajo.
All right, do you think he got the benefit of the doubt because he's been such a long time highly respected champion?
¿Tú crees que la forma por la que él ganó es porque él ha sido campeón por tanto tiempo? Oh, él tiene mucha experiencia, es un buen campeón, pero no es por criticar a nadie ni por ponerle en duda a nadie, pero él no se pesó legalmente, se trepó la báscula, se bajó, ahora mismo estuvo corriendo, agarrándose, dándole con la cabeza, golpes bajos, y en ningún momento le decían nada, al contrario, decían Whitaker, ok, Whitaker, nunca le dan puntos, y lo regañaron más de 10 veces.
And he's concerned that, you know, he was scolded many times. He's concerned that about the scale, when he went up on the scale and got off, he doesn't believe that Whitaker actually made his weight.
So he is saying, in effect, that he thinks that Whitaker got a lot of the benefit of doubts here tonight.
Porque él es campeón, que él ganó esta pelea, entonces.
Sí, no solo porque es campeón, porque es el muchacho protegido de la firma promotora, es un campeón de mucho prestigio, y pues una decisión no se la van a dar cerrada al retador.
It's not only because he's the champion, but the promoters are he fights for the promoters of this fight.
Tell us about the headbutt and how the blood affected your fight.
Dinos, que nos digas qué efecto tuvo tu cortada en la pelea.
Oh, tuvo mucha porque yo no le tengo miedo a botar sangre, soy un gallo de cría, como dicen los boricuas.
I'm not afraid of shedding blood.
Pero la sangre me estaba cayendo en el ojo.
But the blood was just going in my eyes.
Y solamente estaba peleando Whitaker con medio boxeador porque tenía un solo ojo. No veía.
And most of the time I was only fighting Whitaker with one eye because I couldn't see out of the other eye.
So do you think that the blood that was pouring down over your face was the ultimate determining factor in this fight?
¿Tú crees que entonces que la sangre que te estaba cayendo por la cara fue la que determinó la pelea?
No, yo gané como quiera, únicamente que no veía bien lo veía bien y pues pude haberle colocado mejores golpes, pero yo gané como quiera porque estuve presionando, él lo que hacía era agarrarse y darme otra vez con la cabeza, golpes bajos, un solo jab, únicamente me entraba limpio, un solo jab o dos por round.
Yeah, regardless of the blood, I know I won this fight. You know, he was fighting a little dirty, he hit me below the belt, he was hitting me with his head, he was fighting dirty.
Thank you very much, Wilfredo.
I'm sorry,
appreciate it.
2 minutes, please. I say, San Martin, hello people, thank you for having me in this island, I love this island. Welcome to Puerto Rico when I go from Puerto Rico. Thank you very much. Puerto Rico, los quiero mucho. Ganamos la pelea.
Jim, George.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'll tell you what, Whitaker says he'll fight Cuarte, he'll fight Trinidad, he'll fight Chavez. I got one question. Will he fight Wilfredo Rivera again? This kid deserves a rematch.
I don't think so. But if I'm his manager, Wilfredo, I'll be demanding a rematch, and I think he could win it, too. This guy deserves a rematch.
Well, he certainly wouldn't be in any way intimidated or afraid of Whitaker the next time around.
He knows the way through the woods now and how to find the gingerbread house.
Right.
He knows the way to the gingerbread house this time.
Well, let's go back to the whole theme of the evening. You'll recall at the start of the evening, this is all about the question of whether somebody's going to set up Whitaker versus Cuarte down the road. And you saw Cuarte whack out his opponent with a terrific, technically brilliant third-round knockout. If Cuarte got ready to go in against Whitaker 3 months from now,
Cuarte, if I'm telling Whitaker, leave Cuarte alone for the time being.
Yeah, Ike Cuarte looked sensational. Great job tonight, champ. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Enjoyed myself.
All right. Larry, you're back.
Yeah, and I thought that Pernell won the fight 7 rounds to 5, but be that as it may, this has been a pretty good duty down here in St. Martin's Island, but you ought to know that next week we're going to be in North Forks, North Dakota. So it isn't
Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Grand Forks, North Dakota. So it isn't all peaches and cream and breezes and palm trees.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be very nice, Larry.
But we are looking forward to going up there. Seeing all the trees stripped of their bark during this week as we gamboled around the island made a very powerful impression on me. I'd never seen anything quite like that, what that fierce hurricane did here. And that's where I started using that metaphor of whether somebody's bark was going to be stripped. And certainly Ike Cuarte stripped his foe, but none of us expected to see that Pernell Whitaker's bark would peel a little bit too. And now what we're going to have to find out is whether indeed, when he steps up to a Cuarte or a Trinidad, he can step it up to his old championship style.
All right, that'll be something that we'll see down the road as we follow the careers of Ike Cuarte, Pernell Whitaker, and maybe Wilfredo Rivera also. So we'll be back with a final word on what happened in the ring. First, let's look ahead to some upcoming programming on HBO.
Hey now, if you want to mess with somebody's high, just move fast. Say, man, what's up? Oh! Men, if they ever ask you to be on the Ricky Lake Show and they put you in the soundproof booth, don't come out the booth. They got a surprise for you.
The HBO Comedy Hour. Sinbad, son of a preacher man. Giving comedy some soul. Premieres Saturday night at 9:45 on HBO.
From HBO Pictures. Once there were the major leagues, and there were the Negro Leagues. Until 1945, when all that was about to change. Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and Jackie Robinson. They dreamed of making the majors. They ended up making history. Soul of the Game. Premieres Saturday, April 20th at 8 p.m. only on HBO.
Late at night, it's hard to be good. It's good to be bad. And you've got to be bad to be the best. HBO Boxing After Dark. The new Saturday late night boxing series. Lou Savarese versus Buster Mathis Jr. World Light Heavyweight Champ Virgil Hill versus undefeated top contender Lou Del Val. Live Saturday, April 20th on HBO. HBO Boxing After Dark. Some of the best in the business work the night shift.
Tonight on the island of San Martin, in our first bout, Ghanaian unbeaten world welterweight champion Ike Quartey blistered the willing Vince Phillips over 2.5 rounds before finally putting Phillips away with a brilliant display of accurate power punching. That was one great performance. And then we saw a very unusual fight as Pernell Whitaker gained a split decision victory in a bout in which his opponent, Wilfredo Rivera, despite a deep cut on his head from an accidental butt, came on bravely in the late rounds, pressured Whitaker, and on the judges, or on the card of at least one judge, and our Harold Letterman seemed to have won the fight. Whitaker gets his 38th win in 40 fights. Coming up immediately following tonight's coverage of World Championship Boxing, stay tuned for Dennis Miller live on the East Coast and Dangerous Indiscretion on the West Coast. World Championship Boxing returns to HBO on May 10 with a heavyweight triple-header edition that features some of boxing's biggest names. Evander Holyfield versus Bobby Chaz. Lennox Lewis against Ray Mercer. Tim Witherspoon versus Jorge Luis Gonzalez. In all, 6 big men, 4 former champions, 2 Olympic gold medalists, 3 big fights you won't want to miss. So now for Larry Merchant, George Foreman, and Harold Letterman, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from the French-Dutch island of San Martin. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. Tonight's telecast of World Championship Boxing was produced by Rick Bernstein and directed by Mark Payton. The associate producer, Kirby Bradley. The feature producers, Brian McDonald and Kendall Reed. Assistants to the producer, Jonathan Crystal and Thomas Odelfelt. The production manager was John McCallie, and the technical supervisor, Bob Hunter.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Next on HBO. An ad exec learns that philandering doesn't pay when the powerful husband of one of
Lennox Lewis!
Oh, you're so awesome. The gentleman with the dangerous right. Such a proper chap. I love you, mate.
Nice try, fella, but you're still not getting my triple-header tickets.
Spoony! Yo, Timmy Witherspoon, my main man. The Spooner, the comeback
kid hanging with the Spooner. I love you, bro. Don't leave me hanging.
Let me guess. You want triple header tickets. Ain't gonna happen.
Spooner, don't dish me, man.
The following is a special presentation of HBO Sports.